coming forward saying that they left their home because they were concerned about the living conditions. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Marnie Hughes.
And I'm David Rose. At least 46 families have left base housing at JBLM because they say mold was taking over their homes. A Facebook group documenting similar stories has hundreds of members now. Omar Lewis is following this story for us, and tonight he talked with 8 military wives who tell us the conditions on base are unlivable, and they're coming together to try to change it or stop it.
These 8 women are all wives of military service members at JBLM. One of them even served in the military herself. But while their husbands now actively fight for our country's freedom, they say they're fighting for a decent place to live on base.
How many of you all have dealt with issues of mold inside your home?
Mine was like a hole like this big in our laundry room, and my husband just poked it, and dead mice fell out of my walls.
Lincoln Military Housing is the privatized property management company who runs the housing at JBLM. They are paying for temporary accommodations for these families, but released a statement saying in part that these families moved out voluntarily and it wasn't because of any health or safety issues.
It just felt like a knife in my gut. Who on earth asks their daughter, who's 2 months old, to be diagnosed with asthma and almost die in her sleep?
Military families at JBLM are now coming together through a Facebook group that has 900 members, all telling similar stories about substandard housing at JBLM. Many of these women say after moving into housing on base, their families have repeatedly had to make doctor's visits after constantly getting sick.
I was like, oh my God, I'm sick too, and then they came to my house and they were like, oh, you're just pregnant.
It's just been a plethora of things. My kids have been non-stop sick since we moved in February 2018.
After meeting with a neurologist at Seattle Children's, they did confirm it was due to black mold exposure. And since being in the hotel, my son hasn't had a single seizure.
At least 46 families at JBLM have moved out of their homes on base after finding mold. Officials at JBLM tell us this is a situation that is a top priority. 7 out of the 8 women we interviewed are now staying in hotels. They say the entire ordeal has taken both an emotional and financial toll.
Now I have to go through my home piece by piece, and I have to decide what I can save. I have to go through my kids' things and tell them, I'm sorry, we couldn't save your toy. Movers are refusing to come into these homes to pack everything.
LMH tells Q13 News they have now hired extra staff to solve these issues and are committed to making this right to get families back into their homes. But for these 8 women, they tell us their mission is now to bring change so that another military family at JBLM doesn't end up like this.
This is affecting our country as a whole because these guys are not mission ready. They are not focused on what they are supposed to do in the task at hand. They're focused on trying to keep their families safe.
As far as remediation, I think it's a day late and a dollar short. I don't think there's a whole lot that LMH can do anymore except for boot, scoot, and boogie their way on out.
Omar Lewis, Q13 News.
Lincoln Military Housing tells us they have hired